As American Jews, we believe in American and Jewish values, values of truth and justice, honesty and peace. Proud of our heritage, when I was a child, I would collect dimes to plant trees in Israel. We had come to a land of unredeemed swamps and deserts, and we made the Holy Land bloom and flourish. We were faced with evil and jealous Arabs, people who would terrorize and kill innocent people. Then my understanding of Israel evolved. I took a world religions course, and I learned that Islam and Judaism had much in common, that they were both religions of peace. Often in conflicts, people misjudge the motivations and thinking of others. Had I been misjudging Palestinians? Jesus had taught us about the splinter and the plank. Jews had lived alongside Christian and Muslim families for centuries in peace, without being thrown into the sea. Something seemed inconsistent. I saw United Nations figures that 700,000 Palestinian men, women, and children became refugees in the fighting of 1948. If we Jews had come to a land of empty deserts and swamps as I had been taught, how did so many people become refugees? Something didn't seem right. I tried to learn more about the history. Israeli historian Benny Morris described how Jewish terrorist groups like the Irgun and the Stern Gang introduced the whole idea of bombing civilian markets and buses in Palestine. He also described how, in 1948, the Jewish army expelled hundreds of thousands of people, whole villages of Palestinian families from their homes, before any Arab armies had declared war. There was written documentation in the Israeli army, the Haganah's war plans, so-called Plan D, that described specifically the destruction of villages, how they would be bombed, mined, blown up, and how the population should be expelled beyond the borders of the state. This was so in contrast to what I had been taught, I wondered if it was true. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinian men, women, and children were made refugees. Their villages were destroyed to keep them from returning. And those trees that I had helped to plant, some were planted on the remains of those Palestinian villages. As early as 1919, before any Arab riots in Palestine, David Ben-Gurion, one of the founders of the State of Israel, made clear that Jews were coming to Palestine to create a state for themselves in a land where other people were already living. Palestinian families were displaced from their homes, even Christian families, the living stones of Christianity, the peaceful people who had been tending the olive groves in the land where Jesus had once walked. We Jews were treated horribly in Europe in the Holocaust. Members of my own family were killed. But that doesn't mean we need to mistreat Palestinian families. Instead, we should be putting the discrimination and horror of the previous century behind us. The violation of our Judeo-Christian principles, the expulsion of Palestinian families from their homes, Israel's continued killing of Palestinians, American support for that killing, and our failure to speak out against it, that is what today gives ammunition to the hatred of Jewish people. It's time for us to put aside this idea that we should be supporting a state for people of one religion at the expense of people of another religion. Our American ideals tell us that diverse people can live together in equality and in peace. Thank you for your support and for helping make this idea a reality.